The lawyer's hands were shaking as he slid the death certificate across his desk. My death certificate, dated 3 years ago. But here's the problem. I was very much alive. Standing right in front of him. And the signature at the bottom. That was my sister Rachel's handwriting. She declared me dead, collected my inheritance, and disappeared. But I'm Natalie Morrison. I'm 32 years old, and I just crashed my own memorial service. If family betrayal stories make your blood boil the way mine does, hit that subscribe button right now, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from tonight. I read every single one. I'm Natalie, and what I'm about to tell you will make you question everyone you trust. 3 years ago, I didn't lose my apartment to a fire. I lost something far worse. My identity, my inheritance, and my family. But unlike most victims, got my revenge. Let me take you back to where it all started. August 2021. I was 29, working as a marine biologist in Monterey, California. My life was simple. Research, diving, my tiny cottage by the water. I hadn't spoken to my family in Seattle in almost 4 years. Not since my grandmother's funeral, when my sister Rachel made it very clear I wasn't welcome at family gatherings anymore. Rachel was the golden child. Always had been. 7 years older. Married to a real estate developer. 2 kids. The works. I was the black sheep. The one who chose tide pools over trust funds. Who preferred solitude over socializing. Our grandmother, Dorothy Morrison, raised us after our parents died in a car crash when I was 6. She was a shrewd woman. A former stockbroker who'd built a considerable fortune. $4.2 million. To be exact, I knew because she told me once. During her last lucid week before dementia took her completely. Split it evenly between you girls, she'd said, gripping my hand in her hospital bed. But there's a condition, Natalie. Neither of you gets a cent until you're both over 30. I don't want Rachel bullying you out of your share. Even then, Grammy knew. The call came on a Tuesday morning in August. Unknown number. Seattle area code. I almost didn't answer. Miss Morrison. A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. This is Karen Fletcher from Whitmore and Associates. I'm the executor of your grandmother's estate. My stomach dropped. Is she? Your grandmother passed away 18 months ago, Miss Morrison. I've been trying to reach you. 18 months. Rachel hadn't even told me. I'm calling because there's been a complication with the estate distribution. Can you come to Seattle? This really needs to be discussed in person. I booked a flight that night. I had no idea that walking into that lawyer's office would reveal a crime so calculated, so cruel, that even the attorney would break professional protocol. Just to warn me, Karen Fletcher's office was in downtown Seattle. All glass and steel. She was younger than she'd sounded on the phone. Maybe 40. With tired eyes and a jaw set like she was bracing for impact. Miss Morrison. Before we begin, I need to verify your identity. She slid a form across her desk. Driver's license, social security card. And I'll need you to provide a fingerprint. Is this standard procedure? No. She met my eyes. It's not. I provided everything. She scanned my documents. Took my fingerprint with a portable scanner. Then excused herself. When she returned 15 minutes later, her face was ashen. I need to show you something. And I need you to stay calm. She opened a folder. Inside was a death certificate. Natalie and Morrison. Date of death. November 3, 2021. Was accidental drowning. Location. Monterey Bay, California. I stared at it. The words didn't make sense. That's impossible. I'm right here. I know. Karen's voice was barely above a whisper. Miss Morrison. Your sister Rachel filed this death certificate 3 years ago. She submitted it to this office, along with a police report, witness statements, and a memorial service program. She pulled out more documents, each one more elaborate than the last. A police report claiming my kayak had been found capsized. Witness statements from marine biology colleagues saying I'd gone out alone, despite dangerous conditions. A death notice in the Monterey Herald, and a memorial service program. In loving memory of Natalie Morrison, 1992 to 2021. She belonged to the ocean. This is insane. My hands were shaking. How is this legal? How did no one verify? Your sister provided documentation. A body was never recovered, which is common in ocean drownings. The police report appeared legitimate. And you? Karen hesitated. You'd been estranged from the family for years. No social media presence. Working in a remote research station. There was no one to contradict her story. What did she get? The money. All $4.2 million. Transferred to her account 14 months ago. Once the estate cleared probate. The room tilted. But here's where it gets worse, Karen continued. I started suspecting something was wrong 6 months ago, when I saw a tax filing with your social security number. Someone filed a return for income you'd earned in 2022, a year after you were supposedly dead. I filed that return. Exactly. So I did some digging. Very quiet digging. She pulled out another file. Your sister didn't act alone. Her husband, Trevor Donovan, works in real estate, but he has a side business, document forgery. He's been investigated twice by the FBI, but never charged. That moment, I thought I'd learned the worst of it. But what Karen told me next made me realize my sister hadn't just stolen my money. She tried to erase my entire existence. There's more. Karen opened her laptop, turned it toward me. I filed a request with the Monterey Police Department for the original report. Look at the filing officer. I leaned in. Officer Donovan. Trevor filed the police report 3 years ago, before he married your sister. He wasn't a police officer. He impersonated one. The Monterey PD confirmed they have no record of this case in their actual system. This was a fabricated document, inserted into county records. My mind was racing. The witnesses. All fake. I tracked down 2 of the names. One is a distant cousin of Trevor's. The other doesn't exist. How did they do this? How is this even possible? Karen closed her laptop. Your sister knew you were isolated. No close friends. Minimal online presence. Estranged from family. You were the perfect victim. And Trevor had the skills to create convincing forgeries. What happens now? That's up to you. She pulled out a business card. This is Detective Marcus Reeves. He's with the Seattle PD Financial Crimes Unit. I've been informally consulting with him for the past month. You've known about this for a month. I couldn't contact you without proof. If your sister got wind that I was suspicious, all this evidence could disappear. She leaned forward. Natalie, what your sister did is criminal. Multiple felonies, wire fraud, identity theft, forgery. But it's also sophisticated. We need to catch her in the act. Not just with the money already gone. How? Karen's smile was cold. We let her think you're still dead. And we set a trap. I met Detective Reeves that evening, at a coffee shop in Capitol Hill. He was mid-40s. Graying hair. The kind of cop who'd seen everything and believed nothing. Miss Morrison. He shook my hand, studying my face like he was comparing it to a photograph. Karen filled me in. This is one of the more creative fraud cases I've seen. Creative. I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice. Calculated, he corrected. Your sister planned this for at least 2 years. We've been pulling financial records. She started siphoning money from your grandmother's accounts 6 months before the death certificate was filed. Grammy was still alive then. Barely. Medical records show she had advanced dementia. Your sister had power of attorney. She drained Grammy's accounts while she was dying. $380,000 over 6 months. Small transfers. Nothing that would trigger alarms. By the time your grandmother actually died, the estate was already depleted. Your sister knew the full inheritance wouldn't be available for years because of the age restriction. So she took what she could early. Felt sick. Here's what we know. Reeves pulled out a timeline. Your sister filed the death certificate November 2021. The estate went into probate. She had to wait for you to be 30, which would have been June 2022, before she could claim your half. She collected the full amount March 2023, after probate cleared. Where's the money now? That's the interesting part. She didn't keep it. He showed me bank records. She moved it through 4 different accounts, then invested it in Trevor's real estate company. They've been flipping properties in Tacoma. Current portfolio value is about $6.8 million. They made money off my inheritance. Quite a bit. And they're planning to make more. He pulled out another document. Trevor's company just broke ground on a luxury condo development. $15 million project. Mostly funded by your stolen inheritance. That's when Detective Reeves told me about the memorial fund. And that's when I knew. My sister wasn't just a thief. She was a monster. There's something else. Reeves slid a printed webpage across the table. The Natalie Morrison Ocean Conservation Memorial Fund. I stared at it. Name. My face. An old photo from college. A mission statement about protecting marine life. In my memory. She created a charity. My voice was hollow. A fundraiser. She's collected $47,000 from family friends. Your grandmother's former colleagues. Even some of your old professors. All of it supposedly going to ocean conservation in your name. Where's it actually going? Into her personal account. The charity isn't registered as a non-profit. It's just a PayPal link. I couldn't breathe. She's profiting off my fake death. And building a reputation. Look. He showed me more pages. News articles about Rachel's grief. Her dedication to preserving her sister's legacy. Photos of her at charity events. Wearing black. Dabbing at her eyes. She's won awards for this, Reeves said quietly. Community service commendations. She gave a speech at a marine biology conference last year. About loss and purpose. I need to stop this. We will. But we need to be smart. He leaned forward. If you confront her directly, she'll hide the money. Destroy evidence. Maybe even flee. We need to catch her in a situation where she can't deny it. What do you suggest? His smile was grim. Your grandmother's estate lawyer. Karen. She's brilliant. And she has an idea. Karen's plan was elegant and brutal. Your grandmother's will had a clause, she explained the next morning in her office. If either beneficiary died before the age of 35, their share would go to a marine conservation charity. The real kind. Not whatever scam your sister's running. So Rachel doesn't know that clause exists. I never told her. The will was complex. 62 pages. She skimmed it, signed off, and collected the money. What does that mean? It means if you're legally dead before 35, she has to return the money. All of it. Karen's eyes gleamed. And you're not 35 yet. You're 32. But I'm not dead. She doesn't know that. And we can use it. Reeves jumped in. Here's the play. Karen sends Rachel a letter saying the estate is being audited. Standard procedure for large inheritances. She'll need to provide documentation proving you were deceased at the time of distribution. She has that documentation. The fake death certificate, which we now know is forged. But we need her to present it as real. In front of witnesses. On record. Reeves tapped the table. Once she submits it officially, knowing it's false, that's fraud we can prosecute beyond doubt. What if she realizes it's a trap? She won't, Karen said. Because she's gotten away with it for 3 years. People who get away with crimes get confident. Sloppy. The trap was set for 3 weeks later. But what we didn't know was that Rachel was planning something too. Something that would force me to reveal myself. Far sooner than we'd intended. For 3 weeks. I lived in limbo. I stayed in Seattle. In a hotel under a fake name. No social media. No contact with anyone who might know Rachel. I was a ghost. Investigating my own death. Detective Reeves kept me updated daily. Rachel had received Karen's letter. And immediately contacted a lawyer. She was taking it seriously. Which meant she was worried. That's good, Reeves assured me. Worried people make mistakes. Then, 2 days before the scheduled meeting, everything changed. Reeves called at 11 p.m. We have a problem. Rachel just booked flights to Costa Rica. For Trevor. And the kids. One-way tickets. Departure in 72 hours. She's running. Looks like it. The letter spooked her more than we thought. What do? We move up the timeline. The meeting's tomorrow. 2 p.m. Can you be there? What am I supposed to do? Exactly what we planned. Stay hidden until the right moment. Let her commit perjury in front of witnesses. Then we bring you in. Marcus. I used his first name for the first time. What if this doesn't work? Then she gets on that plane and you never see your money again. His voice was hard. But if it does work, she goes to prison. Your choice. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I sat in Karen's back office, watching through a one-way mirror. Karen had arranged for a court reporter to be present. Official record. Detective Reeves was there too. Out of uniform. Posed as a legal assistant. Rachel walked in at 2:03 p.m. I hadn't seen my sister in 4 years. But she looked exactly the same. Polish. Perfect blonde hair. Expensive suit. The kind of woman who'd never broken a sweat in her life. Trevor was with her. Tall. Handsome in a generic way. Holding a leather briefcase like a shield. Thank you for coming, Karen began. This should be straightforward. We just need to verify the documentation for the estate distribution. Of course. Rachel's smile was warm. Practiced. Though I don't understand why this is necessary now. The estate settled 2 years ago. Standard audit procedure for inheritances over $2 million. Karen opened her file. I need you to confirm, for the record, that your sister Natalie Morrison is deceased. Yes. Rachel's voice didn't waver. She died in November 2021. Can you provide the death certificate? Trevor pulled it from his briefcase, slid it across the table. The same document I'd seen weeks ago. And you're certain of the authenticity of this document? Karen asked. Absolutely. It was filed with the Monterey County Clerk's office. By whom? The investigating officer. Rachel didn't hesitate. A Monterey police officer handled the case. And this is your sister's signature. Karen pointed to a line at the bottom. Something I hadn't noticed before. Rachel leaned in. Studied it. Yes. That's Natalie's signature. From her will. The will she filed 3 months before she died. Exactly. That signature was the mistake we'd been waiting for. Because I'd never filed a will. And Rachel had just claimed, under oath, that I had. Karen looked at the court reporter. Let the record show that Miss Rachel Donovan has confirmed the authenticity of this death certificate and associated signature. She turned back to Rachel. I have one more question. Are you aware that forging a death certificate is a federal crime punishable by up to 10 years in prison? Rachel's face went pale. I didn't forge anything. Then you won't mind if we verify the document with Monterey County right now? Karen pulled out her phone. I have the clerk on speed dial. That's not necessary. I think it is. Karen's voice went cold. Especially since I have reason to believe this death certificate is fraudulent. Trevor stood up. We're leaving. This is harassment. Sit down, Mr. Donovan. Detective Reeves stepped forward, pulling out his badge. Seattle PD Financial Crimes Unit. You're not going anywhere. Rachel's eyes widened. This is a setup. This is a fraud investigation. Reeves pulled out handcuffs. And you just committed perjury. I want my lawyer. You can call them from the station. Rachel Donovan. Trevor Donovan. You're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, forgery, and conspiracy to commit fraud. That's when Karen looked at the mirror where I was watching. Time to make my entrance. I walked into the conference room. Rachel's face went white. Actually white. Like she'd seen a ghost. Which, suppose, she had. Hello, Rachel. She couldn't speak. Just stared. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. You're. Trevor found his voice first. This isn't possible. Clearly it is. I moved closer to my sister. Because I'm standing right here. Natalie. Rachel's voice was a whisper. You're alive. Disappointed. Tears started streaming down her face. Once. Think. I thought. We thought you were dead. We really did. Liar. The word came out sharp. You filed that death certificate. You created the police report. You stole my inheritance. I was protecting it. You were stealing it. For 3 years. You've been spending my money. Living off what Grammy left me. Building your perfect life on my grave. It wasn't like that. The memorial fund, Rachel. The charity in my name. You took donations from people who cared about me. And kept every penny. She crumpled. I was going to give it to charity eventually. No, you weren't. You were going to board a plane to Costa Rica in 2 days. And disappear forever. Her eyes shot to Trevor. He looked away. How did you? He started. How did I find out? 'Cause you got sloppy. You filed taxes with my social security number. You couldn't help yourself. I leaned down, met her eyes. Did you really think you could erase me? That I'd just vanish and never come back? I needed the money. Her voice broke. Trevor's business was failing. We were going to lose everything. Grammy would have wanted me to have it. Grammy specifically said to split it evenly. She knew you'd try something like this. That's why she put the age restriction in the will. You don't understand what it's like. To be betrayed by family. Actually, Rachel, I understand perfectly now. Detective Reeves stepped between us. That's enough. Miss Donovan. Mr. Donovan. You're both under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. I watched them cuff my sister. watched her cry, watched her perfect mask finally crack. And I felt nothing, just a hollow kind of relief. The trial took 8 months. Rachel's lawyer tried everything. Claimed she'd been manipulated by Trevor. That she genuinely believed I was dead. That the whole thing was a misunderstanding. The jury didn't buy it. Neither did the judge. Rachel got 7 years in federal prison. Trevor got 9. He had prior convictions for fraud. The real estate company was dissolved. Assets frozen and sold. After legal fees and restitution to the memorial fund donors, I recovered $5.2 million. More than the original inheritance. Thanks to their real estate investments. Ironic. Really. The day Rachel was sentenced, I sat in the courtroom gallery. She turned to look at me once. Before they led her away. I don't know what she expected to see. Forgiveness. Vindication. I gave her nothing. Just watched her go. Karen Fletcher called me a week later. The Costa Rica house just sold, she said. Trevor had purchased it with stolen funds. Sale price was $1.8 million. It's being added to your restitution. I don't want it. What? The money from the house. Donate it to an actual marine conservation charity. Make it anonymous. Silence. That's unusually kind of you. It's not kindness. I don't want anything they touched. I heard her smile through the phone. I'll arrange it. I moved back to Monterey. But not to my old cottage. Bought a new place up the coast in Big Sur. More isolated. Better view. Started a foundation. Real one. The Dorothy Morrison Marine Conservation Fund. Named after Grammy. Not me. It funds research grants for young marine biologists. The kind of person I used to be. Sometimes people ask if I forgive Rachel. If I've found closure. The answer is no. You don't forgive someone for trying to erase your existence. You don't find closure when your own sister declared you dead for money. What you do is move forward. Build a new life. Protect it fiercely. I still dive most mornings. The ocean is cold and clear and honest. It doesn't pretend to be something it's not. Unlike family. 3 months ago, I got a letter from Rachel. Prison stationery. Cramped handwriting. I'm sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. Please visit me. I need to explain. I threw it away without finishing it. Some people deserve second chances. My sister isn't one of them. Last week, I got an email from one of the students funded by Grammy's foundation. She just published her first research paper on coral reef restoration. Thank you for believing in me, she wrote. This grant changed my life. That's when I realized something. Rachel tried to kill me. Not physically. But in every way that mattered. She tried to erase my identity. Steal my future. Turn my death into her profit. But she failed. Because I'm still here. Still working. Still making Grammy proud. And she's in a cell in Pennsylvania. Counting days until parole. 1. If you're watching this and you've ever been betrayed by family, I want you to know something. It's not your fault. You don't owe loyalty to people who would destroy you for convenience. You don't owe forgiveness to people who would erase you for money. Blood doesn't make family. Trust does. Love does. Respect does. And if your family doesn't respect you, they're not your family. They're just people who happen to share your DNA. 3 years ago, my sister declared me dead. She thought she could steal my life and no one would notice. She was wrong. 'Cause I fought back. I trusted my instincts. I found people who believed me. Karen. Detective Reeves. The prosecutor who took my case seriously. And I survived. If you're in a situation where someone is gaslighting you, stealing from you, undermining you, even if it's family, you are allowed to fight back. You are allowed to save yourself. You are allowed to cut them off and never look back. That's not cruelty. That's survival. I'm Natalie Morrison. I'm 32 years old. And my sister tried to erase me for $4.2 million. She failed. Not because I was smarter or stronger, but because I refused to stay dead. If this story resonated with you, please share it. Someone out there needs to hear that they're not crazy. They're not alone. And they have the right to protect themselves from toxic family. Subscribe if you want more stories about survival, revenge, and refusing to be a victim. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment telling me, have you ever had to cut ties with family to save yourself? I read every comment. And I promise, your story matters. Thank you for staying until the very end. Your time means everything to me. Remember, you're allowed to choose who deserves a place in your life. Even if they're family. Especially if they're family.